Why do philosophers, and now AI ethicists, find themselves endlessly fascinated by a runaway trolley? On the surface, it's a stark, almost grim scenario. A runaway trolley, a track, a switch, and an impossible choice between lives. Yet this trolley problem, first articulated by philosopher Philippa Foot in 1967, is far more than an intellectual parlor game. It's a powerful melting pot, designed to strip away the everyday complexities of life and lay bare the raw, often conflicting, mechanics of our moral decision-making. Imagine yourself at that fateful switch. 5 people are on the main track, directly in the path of the speeding trolley. You have the power to pull a lever, diverting the trolley onto a side track, where there is one person. Do you pull it? Many of us, perhaps after a gut-wrenching moment of hesitation, might lean towards yes. The logic seems cold but clear, saving 5 lives at the cost of 1. This resonates with a utilitarian perspective, striving for the greatest good for the greatest number. However, does our directness of involvement in causing harm change its moral weight? Is there a fundamental moral distinction between an act of killing and an act of letting die? How much do our intentions matter compared to the ultimate consequences of our actions? These are not merely abstract quandaries for academic debate. For scientists and engineers on the front lines of developing artificial intelligence, particularly for autonomous vehicles, the trolley problem serves as a foundational thought experiment. The goal isn't to find a single, universally correct answer to the trolley dilemma, as such a thing may not exist or be universally accepted. Instead, its value is in revealing the hidden architecture of human morality. The moral machine presented users with stark choices. Should an autonomous vehicle swerve to hit a pedestrian who is jaywalking, or stay its course and collide with a pedestrian crossing legally? Should the young be prioritized over the elderly? Should passengers of an autonomous vehicle be saved at the expense of pedestrians, or vice versa? If the trolley problem helps us dissect our individual moral gears, MIT's Moral Machine Project scaled this introspection to a global level, directly confronting the rapidly approaching reality of self-driving cars. Picture this: millions of individuals from nearly every country on Earth participating in an online platform, making choices in simulated, unavoidable crash scenarios involving autonomous vehicles. This was more than just a large-scale survey. It was an ambitious attempt to crowdsource a global tapestry of ethical preferences for machines. The sheer volume of data, some 40 million decisions, offered an unprecedented glimpse into collective societal expectations for autonomous vehicle behavior. Across all countries, 3 preferences were especially strong. 1. Spare people over animals. 2. Spare more lives rather than fewer. And 3. Spare the younger people before the elderly. Smaller but consistent preferences included saving law-abiding pedestrians, women, physically fit or higher status individuals, and choosing not to swerve. Demographics such as age, gender, or education had only weak effects, but cultural and economic contexts mattered. Respondents from individualistic cultures showed a stronger preference to save more lives, whereas the young in collectivist cultures placed less emphasis on these factors. Clustering analyses identified Western, Eastern, and Southern groups of countries with distinct moral priorities. For example, Eastern countries were less focused on saving the young, while Southern countries showed the strongest preferences for sparing women and the physically fit. These findings suggest that while some ethical principles are broadly shared, regional and socioeconomic variations will complicate the search for a single, globally acceptable algorithm for autonomous vehicles. However, it also threw into sharp relief a critical hurdle for a globalized technology like autonomous vehicles: What one culture deems an ethical choice for an autonomous vehicle might be viewed as unacceptable or even immoral in another. But even if there are global moral trends, local authorities might decide something different. For instance, while a strong global preference emerged for sparing the young, Germany's official ethics commission for autonomous vehicles explicitly advises against programming vehicles to make life or death decisions based on personal features like age. If manufacturers design autonomous vehicles to be strictly utilitarian, potentially programming them to sacrifice their passengers in certain scenarios to save a greater number of pedestrians, will consumers embrace such vehicles? If widespread adoption is hindered as a result, we might significantly delay the realization of the broader safety benefits that autonomous vehicles promise, potentially leading to a higher number of accidents and fatalities caused by ongoing human error. This is a central conundrum for researchers and policymakers. How do we align the ethical programming of AVs with public acceptance and the ultimate goal of enhancing road safety for everyone? Then there is the labyrinthine issue of liability. In the unfortunate event that an AV is involved in an accident that causes harm or damage, who bears the responsibility? Is it the owner of the vehicle, the manufacturer who designed and built it, the company that developed its complex software? Or, in a more futuristic and unsettling consideration, could the AI system itself be deemed accountable? Our existing legal frameworks, largely constructed around the concept of human driver responsibility, are straining to adapt to this new technological paradigm. In response to these immense challenges, scientists and ethicists are actively exploring pathways that move beyond the trolley problem. Many argue that the foremost ethical imperative is to design autonomous vehicle systems with such a high degree of safety and situational awareness that these tragic dilemmas are prevented in the first place. In essence, to fix the brakes on the metaphorical trolley before it ever becomes a runaway threat. Others are diligently working to develop more sophisticated and nuanced ethical frameworks for autonomous vehicles decision-making, frameworks that can account for contextual factors, perform complex risk assessments, and even mitigate the potential for biases to be learned or amplified by the AI from its training data. The ongoing development of autonomous driving technology is compelling us to engage in a deep and often uncomfortable examination of what it means to delegate morally significant decisions to machines. This is not merely a technological frontier. It is a frontier of trust, accountability, and the very definition of the kind of society we wish to inhabit. The trolley problem, the moral machine project, and the accelerating advancement of autonomous vehicles represent crucial interconnected waypoints on a larger journey into our future with intelligent machines.